Hi guys, so today's video I thought I'd sit down and just do like a chatty kind of style video. I think I'm gonna tell you guys a story, so I'm probably gonna label this a story time and also like a get ready with me. So I'm getting ready to film my gingerbread kitchen. There is the sweater vest I'm gonna wear. It's so cute. So I'm gonna go ahead and just dive in because, you know, this kitchen's probably gonna take me a while to decorate and a while to edit. I'm also gonna try to do no editing in this, so I'm sorry if there's gonna be like awkwardness of any sort or just silence as I try to do my makeup, but yeah, so I just thought it'd be fun to just sit down and, you know, give you guys a break from seeing me just all the other stuff I do around the house, I guess. I don't know. So I am going to do what I consider a full face of makeup for me, but it doesn't require any concealer or foundation. If you haven't seen my other videos, I have been requested to do like a makeup tutorial, which I have done, I think, several at this point on my channel. And I'm basically doing the same exact process. Nothing has changed. The only thing that changes is how I do my eye makeup. I feel like I have a piece of hair somewhere. And today I am gonna do a more dramatic eye look. Just kind of in the mood to do a brown eye look because of the gingerbread. And because I'm not wearing a hat, you know, gotta do the forehead and the eyebrows, which honestly is why I wear hats most of the time, so that I don't have to do my eyebrows. But okay, so I thought I'd do a story time about a post that I put on my Instagram story. And also, if you're wondering, I just said no concealer, no foundation. This isn't that. This is BB cream, by the way. It's really light, and I like that I can still see my skin. I feel like it just evens out my skin, and also I feel like it's a nice foundation for my bronzer. So anyways, all right, so on my Instagram story, I posted a TikTok of someone who, they were out in the ocean and they were filming and caught someone being swallowed up by a whale. Yes. And I don't know if you guys have seen that footage at all, but the person ended up being fine. Like, the whale came up, I think this person was like on a paddle board or like a kayak of some sort, and this whale just kind of came up with its mouth open, and the person like literally fell into the whale's. Yes, I know, it's terrifying. I can't even finish the sentence because it's so terrifying. But so there's that. And then something I didn't post, but I saw it on TikTok as well, was somebody talking about how like mermaids are real, and I know I'm diving off into that realm, but I do have a story time for you guys, which I've actually already told on my channel, but it was such a long time ago. This was back when I think I first launched my vlog channel, or I don't even know if my vlog channel was, I don't even remember when I created my vlog channel, to be honest. But I did tell this story then, so some of you might remember this. So I'll just go ahead and like talk about like the concept of mermaids and things, and people talking about like sea life creatures that, you know, we've never seen before, but that are most likely, you know, in the ocean, which I wouldn't be surprised, especially since, you know, there's the statistic that we've only discovered like not even, it's like such a small percentage, it just blows my mind, of what we've discovered of the ocean. I mean, it's just something ridiculous. I don't even know the number, but I want to say it's somewhere in like low 10%. Something drastic like that. And I don't know if that number has changed, to be honest, but I'll try to put it in the comments because, you know, don't take my word for it because I don't know off the top of my head. Just FYI, we'll be on bronzing for a while. So, anyway, so I saw this TikTok of someone talking about how mermaids are real, and there have been people who have said that they've seen something like that, and I don't know that that's what I saw, but let me tell you what happened. Okay, so every year my family and I go to Florida. It's like a family reunion of sorts, and this was, how long ago was this one when this happened? This was when I lived 2 houses ago. So not the last house, but the one before that. So more than 5 years ago. It was probably 5 years. And my stepdad wanted to, every time we go, he likes to rent a kayak and he likes to go fishing, okay? And I think on this particular trip, and I think this is what happened, he was supposed to go with my brother. So he rented like a 2-person kayak, and I think that my brother went one morning and he just kind of got like seasick being in the kayak. So they came back home, and you know, I guess my stepdad didn't get to you know, do the fishing that he wanted to do. So I felt really bad, and I was just like, I'll go with you, you know, because he had rented this kayak for several days, for I think like the whole trip, and I didn't want it to go to waste. And you know, it's so hard getting a kayak out into the ocean. Let me tell you, that's another story time in itself, but I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys all of it into one. But when the waves are coming in and they're kind of choppy, getting past them is not as easy as you think with a big plastic boat. And there was a point where we were trying to launch out, and we just toppled over. I mean, it was a whole thing. We actually lost one of his fishing poles, which I'll tell you guys the ending to that, which is hilarious too. So just remember that he lost one of his fishing poles. We looked and looked and we're like, why can't we find it? We literally just fell in 4 feet of water and we can't find this fishing pole to save our life. But we went back out anyway. I just realized this is a jam-packed story time because I think I was covered head to toe. I was. This was also the year that I got sun poisoning, I think. I could be wrong, but I think that it was the year I also got sun poisoning. So I hadn't been out of the house in a couple days. While everyone was going to the beach, I was so sick. I mean, I'm telling you guys, I don't know if you've ever had sun poisoning, but I've never in my life have felt anything like this. Just never. I was physically ill. And there was a point where I thought, I gotta go to the hospital because I felt like death. And that's saying a lot because I had a lot of stomach issues in my 20s. That's another story time I can do. So I was used to always like just kind of feeling the nausea. And so anyway, I ended up getting sun poisoning, and I just was so over being in the house. But I knew if I was gonna go on a kayak, which was stupid, I shouldn't have done this, but I remember putting like on a big hat. I had on like long sleeves. I was just literally covered head to toe. We put a towel over my legs. I just felt bad, and I wanted, you know, I wanted him to to enjoy like the whole fishing experience. And I didn't for 1 second think that it was gonna be a big deal. Boy, was I wrong. As soon as we started paddling out, it started hitting me. I was like, oh, I completely forgot that I don't like being out in the middle of the ocean. I forgot about that. And it's one thing to be on a big boat, but then I'm literally this, like, I don't even have to fully stretch my arm out to touch the water. You know, that's a problem for me. And I'm realizing how scary this is. And I'm trying not to let the panic show. I'm trying to be supportive and fun. And, you know, be damned, the sun poisoning, like literally didn't even matter at that point, because all of a sudden I'm just acutely aware of the fact that we're out in the middle of the ocean and he just keeps paddling out. He keeps going to the point where I don't even see the land anymore. And I'm like, you know, I think we're good. I think right here and maybe a little bit back that way is a good idea. And so, where's my powder? Here it is. So I'm sitting there freaking out. I am freaking out on the inside, okay? I'm really trying to just breathe and just go with it. But, you know, we're not there just paddling. No, we're there to like move and do stuff, which was even more scary. I'm just like, can you not rock this thing? And side note, not to further dive off, but when I was a freshman? No, how old was I? I don't remember how old I was, but my grandparents and I and my brother, when we were growing up, we went on a trip to the Virgin Islands. We went to St. Thomas. And my brother and I went out on like a little kayak boat, and it flipped over. And I remember being so panicked thinking, oh my God, this water's dark, like get me back in this boat. But the bottom of the kayak is like, there's nothing to like grab onto. At least there wasn't in the one that we were in. So I remember being so afraid you have to like grab underneath to push it over. And so that's in my mind, right? I'm thinking, if this thing flips over, like, how we, you know, we gotta turn it around. It's good, you know, it's not like a quick, you fall out, you get back in, because if you fall out, typically like your kayak could turn with you. So I'm thinking of all of these, you know, horrible things that you shouldn't be thinking. And that's basically where my mind's at the whole time, you know. Meanwhile, that's what's happening on the inside. On the inside, I'm literally shaking to death because I am actually truly frightened. But on the outside, I'm sitting there trying to be, you know, fun and help him. So he wants to basically, the first thing he wants to do, I didn't realize this was a 2-step process. I thought, oh, let's start fishing. Well, no. He wanted to catch the bait first, and then that's what we would fish with. You know, I had no idea, you know, I wouldn't have signed up for this nightmare. And I really just thought, you know, we would kind of paddle out a little bit and that we would just, you know, throw the fishing pole line out and like that be that. Also, I just want to say that in honor of the whole gingerbread thing, I thought it would be how fitting to use this palette. It's the Gingerbread Extra Spicy palette. And I want to do something dark. So I'm going to start off with this for the Graham color right here. Kind of has a little sparkle to it. So I'm going to do that as my all over lid color. Okay, so, but that's obviously not what's happening. So he has this whole net process and he's throwing it out, you know, hoping to catch whatever like little fishies are swimming on the surface kind of deal. And we do this, you know, several times. As a matter of fact, we only end up doing that because we didn't catch any bait. So if we didn't catch any bait, you know, we weren't going to fish for the bigger fish. And so I remember throwing this net out several times, and then, I mean, it was the whole process. So then he wanted to move. He's like, oh, you know, I think I see some fish over there kind of thing, so let's move the kayak. So it was just this constant, you know, whole deal. And I'm sure it was like a fisherman's dream, you know, even if you don't catch fish, I'm sure it was just fun to try or whatever. I was not having fun. I was not hooting, I was not hollering. I wanted none of it, because it just, you know, when something takes root in your mind, it just was not going to change. And so there I was on this little puny thing in the middle of the ocean. And then I started realizing if a shark came up, yeah, this is what was happening. This was literally going on in my mind. And I was like, if a shark comes up, it would take nothing to tip us over. And once that rooted in my mind, I started to really freak out. Still on the inside, you know, I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh. But I think he could tell, because I kept scanning the waters. At that point, all I kept doing was scanning the water over and over and over, just to see any sort of like life form, any sort of fin, any sort of movement, anything. And at one point I see a fin, and I'm like, oh my God. And I turned him, now he served in the military. Okay, so he's a veteran. And so I did feel a sense of the safety still, but that didn't stop like the panic. But I still knew that, like, last resort kind of thing, that I knew I would be all right in a sense with him. And so I was like, what is that? What is that fin? And so he looks out and he's like, it's a dolphin. It's a dolphin. I promise it's a dolphin. And finally I was able to see, at first, because it was just like the fin, and like, that's not what you want to see. Okay, you do not want to recreate the movie Jaws, you know. I mean, I own the movie poster, but that's like as far as I am willing to go. Call me crazy. So so then I finally did see the dolphin moving, and that's when I was able to see his body, and obviously moved like a dolphin. And so then I started to feel a little bit better. I thought, okay, if a dolphin's around me, are, you know, they could essentially be around you to protect you from the dangerous sea life. Or it could also mean that there's just not any sharks around. So so I was just kind of like, okay, you know, as long as that dolphin just kind of hangs out around here, you know, but I was still just constant. And this is the part of the story where you're like, what does this have to do with mermaids? I'm gonna tell you. Now, I'm not suggesting that what I saw was a mermaid, but I'll tell you this. I think 2 years later, because my stepdad and I, the story still occurs. Well, I think we stopped talking about it a long time ago, but 2 years later, after that trip, he had confessed. He was like, yeah, I didn't know what that was, and it was scary, and we needed to leave, like, immediately, kind of thing. And I'm really glad, honestly, that he didn't let me know at the time that he was kind of on par with my reaction. But so there we were, and in the middle of the water, and all of a sudden, okay, now we are far away from land. We really can't see the shore that much. I think we're kind of turned towards it, not really. And this, I honestly can't even describe this, but as this thing floated up, okay, it was like a floating effect. It wasn't a movement effect like a fish. It was a float. And it came to the surface, and I can't even describe what it looked like, but it obviously wasn't like just an object, like something like trash or something, you know, that just, no, because it then slowly moved back into the water, okay? And it was as if it was looking at me. Now, we contemplated, I think, the option that it was an octopus, but it was not an octopus as well. The problem is that I've never seen, it's never been known, I guess you could say, what we saw. So it wasn't like I could easily say, oh, it was just a turtle, or it was, you know, an octopus, or it was this, or was, no. When I tell you that when I saw it, it was alarmingly different, like nothing I'd ever seen. And I couldn't even say if I thought that it looked like what we think mermaids might look like, which kind of, from, you know, what we're, you know, mermaids are like half human, half fish kind of thing. I don't even know if that's what it was, but a part of me kind of thinks that's what it was, but I think we might have it sort of backwards on what we think a mermaid looks like. I don't know. But it moved like a human might move in the water. You know, like if you're in a pool and you just kind of like, you know, the way you kind of rise up and maybe sink back down, it had that finesse to it, I suppose you could say. And it was slow. When it sunk back into the water, it was very slow and deliberate. And I was just like, I said, did you see that? At first, when it came up to the surface, it just kind of, and it didn't even come all the way out. Like, obviously, only a very small portion of whatever was hiding underneath. I had no idea I couldn't tell you how big, tall, long, like I had no clue. I only saw what broke out of the surface a little bit, because the water where we were at was really dark, so we were obviously in very deep water. Okay, I'm gonna go in for Gingerbread Glam, which is this darker brown here. This is a long video. It's already 22 minutes and I'm gonna be doing no editing. But, so anyway, so it's on the surface, okay? It's there for at least 30 seconds, which is a really long time considering the situation. And I'm telling him, I'm like, do you see that? What is that? What is that? And he's just like, I don't even think he says anything while we're both like, and then it starts sinking back in the water. And that's when I knew, even then, in that moment, I think a part of me was like, you didn't really see that, because the movement of it was just very bizarre, in my opinion. It definitely did not look like a turtle, but I think that's what he was saying afterwards. I was like, you know, that was weird. And he was like, oh, I think it was just a turtle. And I was like, I think we should go back. He was like, yeah, let's go ahead and like head back in. He was very calm, very level-headed. He just literally made no big to-do about it. But honestly, that's his personality anyway. And he was just like, oh yeah, you know, let's go in. So he just kind of like puts all the stuff back, and we start paddling. And I'm scared. I'm like, and the more that we're paddling, and I'm like ferociously paddling, like I don't care how bad my burn hurts, I don't care about anything. The more that I'm realizing in my mind that what I saw made no sense. And then when we got back on the shore, which, let me tell you, I think we hurt ourselves coming back in from the waves, but that's a whole different thing. Who cares, you know? I remember like telling everybody at that point, I'm like, oh my God, we saw this thing and it wasn't right. And I was the one freaking out, and he was just very calm about it. So I just kind of thought maybe it was just trash. Like, you know, maybe something floated to the top and floated to bottom, which makes no sense, honestly, because it'll either float or it won't, in my opinion. I don't think it's like one or the other. My leg is going really numb. But because his reaction was so calm, and he had seen it, you know, because his reaction was so calm, I just thought, you know, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Then 2 years later, I believe it was not the next trip, but the one after it. I think I brought it up again, and he was like, that's when he admitted that what we saw was crazy, weird, and we definitely needed to get out of the water ASAP. And as soon as he said that, it just like sparked this thing in my mind where I'm like, I knew I wasn't crazy. Like, I knew that whatever that thing was not like normal. And it did have, and from what I remember, it did have like eyes, but it was just very bizarre. It looked like a sea creature, like just a creature nobody has ever seen before. And I know this sounds utterly ridiculous, you guys, but I'm just telling you. So when he admitted to that, and I'm like, okay, this guy is level-headed. You know, he was in the army, you know, he has that structure to remain calm, you know, all of those things. And he did just that, you know, looking back, he knew that he was agreeing with my reaction, but he didn't want me to panic, and he probably instinctively knew like one of us needed to have our crap together to kind of get back on shore, kind of thing. And I'll tell you this, if you're asking me, did I ever get back in a kayak, the answer is hell no. I absolutely never got back in a kayak after that. I told him, I said, listen buddy, you're on your own. I will never, ever do that again. Girl, it wasn't for me. I'm not saying it's not enjoyable. I'm sure, you know, it's wonderful for lots of people, and I love that for them. I just do not love it for me, per se. So, in the end, you know, when I see other people kind of talking about the concept of mermaids, or just sometimes, and even not maybe like ocean life specific, maybe when people start talking about, and I'm gonna go as far as saying like aliens and things like that, while I do feel like I'm a very logical person, and also I feel like I don't believe it until I see it, kind of thing. So for me, it's just really hard to grasp. And I've talked about this with my ghost story times too. I said, no matter, even when I went through some of those ghost issues, a part of me still is like, this doesn't really exist, kind of thing. Part of me is constantly pushing to say, you know, there's just not enough evidence for me to believe in things like this. But it still doesn't negate the fact that till this day, and I wish I could honestly describe better what I saw, but just like that, there was a lot to it. It just looked, from what broke into the surface, it wasn't like a simple thing that I was looking at. It just looked like it clearly lived in the abyss. And the way that it just floated to the top, and then, because I happened to be looking right at the spot, and then the way that it moved down is really what got me, because when it floated to the top, I wasn't like expecting it. I wasn't waiting for it. You know, it wasn't like, oh, something's about to come up right there, so let me just watch it happen. So a part of the fact of when it came up out of the water, you know, made me wonder, wait, what just happened? What I see? So meaning that I thought maybe it was some type of fish. So, but it wasn't until I saw it again move back down that I was like, fish don't move like that. They don't move like that. Okay, I don't care. You just don't. Now, whales can tend to, you know, kind of move slower, a little bit more graceful. They're obviously not whipping around like a dolphin or shark, but this wasn't a whale. That's that's honestly the only way I'd say it. I mean, I guess take my word for it. What we saw was bizarre, and like I said, when he admitted to that, going, yeah, I don't know what that was. When he said I didn't know what that was, I was just like, okay. See, the thing is, like, essentially you should know what's in the ocean water, right? Because we, you know, we're pretty advanced, and we've got, you know, marine biology and all of those things, and so it's just kind of like, how did we happen to see something so bizarre off of the Gulf Coast? Like, how is that even possible? But we did. Like, I don't even know what else to say, but we did. Oh, so then to kind of finish the story, we're at 30 minutes. To finish the story, so we never end up finding the fishing pole, and I think the rest of that day, I remember seeing him kind of like go out back into the water, like kind of like searching for it. I didn't go back in the water. I stayed under like the canopy tent thing, and my hair's getting dry. I need to do it. I need to do my eyebrows, but that takes full concentration, so that's not going to happen in this video. But anyways, so I saw that he was trying to look for his, you know, fishing pole, and on the Gulf Coast in Florida, and I'm sure they do this everywhere, but helicopters go back and forth just to scan the waters for marine life. You know, that's kind of how they know to put up like the different colored flags and things like that. So there was a point, I think the next day or the day after that, when we had lost the fishing pole, a helicopter stopped right in front of us, because we still like put our tent and stuff in the same spot where we had like gone off with the kayak, and the helicopter stopped and almost directly in front of us and circled a few times, and we'd never seen a helicopter do that. Usually they just fly by and like that's it, but they started circling, and I was just like, why are they doing that? Still, obviously, till this day, I don't know why they did that, but I think that they did that because they saw the fishing pole. They saw like the long, like maybe shape of it, and they were like, wait, what is that kind of thing? And maybe they did a roundabout to kind of like confirm what they were seeing in the water. Because the flags never changed that day. They didn't make them purple or anything. They were yellow, and I just made a general assumption myself, and I told them, I was like, I bet they just found the fishing pole. But obviously no clue. Not a clue what really caused the helicopter to circle around a couple times. So anyways, that's it for the story time. Comment down below and let me know if you've had any experience like that of any sort. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Comment below, also let me know if you watched that original video when I told this story. Yeah, so that's it. I personally will never get back in the water, especially not in a kayak, and I'll never forget that, and that's saying a lot considering my memory. But no, never again, girl, never the hell again. So anyways, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know I'm not fully getting ready, but I've got to end the video here so I can just kind of finish doing what I got to do and then do the decorating. So anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.